Hi everyone, I'm Stacy.
And I'm her daughter Mickey.
Welcome to KiddieNomics! That was a good one. Thank you everybody for joining on this call today or this webinar today. We are super excited to have you on. So we are going to start with just a few housekeeping items as usual. So let me just start with our screens. So we just want to, first we want to thank all of the first responders, the doctors, the nurses, the janitorial staff, all helping us through. The parents
helping kids get entertained.
Helping the kids get entertained.
Because that's one of them.
All of the teachers that are on this webinar, all of the grocery store attendants. We just want to thank everybody for keeping us safe and healthy through this time. So thank you so much. KiddieNomics is here for kids ages 8 to about 13 because it's for the younger kids. But actually anybody can learn because I get parents that message me all the time and said, I learned something too. So we are super excited about that, but it's developed for the kids just to get a healthy relationship towards financial literacy, just to help kickstart you guys off on the right path towards a successful financial future. So before I introduce our special guest, I do want to say something because this morning I woke up and I was so elated. And I was elated because I always start and I open up my emails and it's super early. So I'll open up my emails and I'll check, you know, if there's any messages. And I just seen a whole bunch of registrations this morning, which was absolutely phenomenal. And I realized that, you know, we started this, you know, we were just like, you know, if it's just one child that we're helping, that is a success for us. But now we have so many kids on the line and KiddieNomics has gone global. We have people on the line from India. Hi, Abhinaya with her son. We have people on the line from the USA. And we just want to say, listen, financial literacy, it doesn't matter what country you come from, what color your skin is, what your economic background is. Financial literacy is a life skill that's going to help you no matter where you live, what your situation is, where you come from, because it's going to give you the skills to
change the world.
Change the world, right? Change the world. It will give you those skills so that you can make smart financial decisions for yourself in the future and even now. And I just want to say, you know, I posted a post on our Instagram page a few weeks ago and just talking about how your dollar is your power and there's power in your dollar. And I want you kids to know that no matter how little it is or how much you have, there is power in your dollar. So just be aware and be smart on where you spend your money, how you spend your money, who you spend your money on, because your money, you have power in your dollar, and just use your power wisely. And it doesn't matter if you only have $1, if you have millions of dollars. There is a power in every single dollar. So we just want to thank you guys for staying with us week after week. We want to thank all of the people that have been sharing KiddieNomics across all the platforms. Orca, thank you. Culture Life, Tisha, thank you so much. You guys have been absolutely wonderful with sharing KiddieNomics and spreading the word out there. So, and if I forgot anybody, I'm truly sorry. I thank everybody that messages me because you know what? We are so grateful for having you guys on. So that's just my little PSA. We just want to say thank you. But now let's get into it. So. Yeah. Our special guest again this week is Miss April. We are so happy to have her back on, but we're also sad because this is her last week
Hey, Jinx.
of her mini series with us. So April Mullings is a finance and tax specialist. She's a graduate of the University of Toronto. April has worked in the accounting field for over 18 years. She holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree with a specialist in management and economics. Super smart, as you guys can tell, week over week. She has advised clients across various fields and industries, various industries on the implementation of accounting systems and processes, enabling them to more effectively manage their operations and personal finances. Her range of services include consultation in the business startup phase, ongoing financial reporting and management, payroll administration, sales reporting, sales tax reporting, personal and corporate tax return preparation. Among her greatest joys is seeing her clients effectively use their financial information to make informed and smart choices. That's what we're trying to do for you guys. April is a mom and a strong advocate of early financial literacy. So welcome, Miss April Mullings. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so it will just be her. There you are.
Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be back again because you know I love to talk about money because money is power and we are trying to harness all of our power. So a happy Friday morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in with me and we're gonna have some more fun. So the first time I was here, we talked about budgeting, where we learned what income and revenue, what income was and what expenses are. Last week, we talked about assets and liabilities, and today we get to talk about taxes. Sounds like fun, right?
Yes.
All right, but before we get started, I hope you all have your pen and have your paper so that we can take notes. Miss Stacy is ready with her pen and her paper, and you can jot down some notes so that you don't forget. And as well, you know, I always say, make sure to ask any questions that you have. We're here to learn. So if you have any questions, if you're not sure about anything that I say, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. Miss Stacy will monitor the chat and that way we get to talk back and forth. And so I know that you're learning. Sounds good? Awesome. All right. So first question is, what are taxes? And for all the children in the room, if your parents are standing by, when they hear that word taxes, they probably they shudder because most people don't like taxes. But I'm going to tell you what taxes are so that you are empowered to make smart choices when it comes to your taxes. Sounds good? All right, let's get into it. So what are taxes? Taxes represents money that we have to pay the government. And I'll tell you what the government is in just a little bit, but if you want to write on your paper taxes, it's money that we pay the government. And the unfortunate thing is that usually we don't have a choice, right? So we have to do it, and that's why it's good for us to know what they are so that we can plan for it because we can't avoid it. It's just like life. We have to pay it. So what are taxes? Taxes, it's money that we pay the government. Now, who is this government that we're talking about? What is the government? Many of you might not have even learned what government is at school. So I'm going to try and simplify it for you. Government, it's a body of people that run the country. So they organize everything that we need to live and to function. So let's compare it to school. At school, you have teachers, you have your vice principal, you have the principal. So has anyone ever heard of Justin Trudeau?
Yes.
Yes? Who's Justin Trudeau?
Justin Trudeau is the government of Canada.
The Prime Minister?
Well, yeah, the Prime Minister. And my mom told me at vote, you have to vote. Yeah.
Yes, the vote. So in Canada, Justin Trudeau is our Prime Minister, and he is the head of the government. Kind of like at your school, the head of the school is the principal, right? So it's that group of people who run the country, just like how your principal and your teachers run your school. So what does government mean? Government, those are the people who run the country. So I'm just going to write, you can write on your paper, people Who run the country? So if you think back, when we talked about budgeting, we talked about needing to plan how we spend our money. So the government has to do the same thing for us. They have to plan how they spend their money. They need income and they have expenses. So their income takes the form of the taxes that we pay them so that they could run everything for us, right? Okay, so what are some of the things that the government spends money on? What if you're sick and you need to go to the doctor? In Canada, we are very lucky. We get to go to the doctor for free. Right, healthcare, good one, Sophia. Right, so those are some of the examples that we spend money on and that our government spends money on. There's healthcare. What about the roads that we drive on? Who pays for fixing of the roads? The government has to spend money on those things, right? So if we put they fix roads, healthcare. What about who pays for your school? Government pays for school, right? When we go outside and we take public transportation, the government pays for public transportation. So these are some of the things that the government takes care of. They take our taxes and they use it to provide us with services. So who is the government? The government represents the people who run the country. All right, and I hope you have that written down on your paper so that you'll remember. And why do we pay taxes? So that we will have the services that we need. We'll have the swimming pools that we can go to and swim in the summertime. We'll have the roads that we drive on. We'll have school to go to, even though you're not in school right now, but when this pandemic is over and we're back in our classrooms, you'll then remember that it's the taxes that we pay that pay for the school. All right, so why do we pay tax? We pay it for the services and that we use. And some of those include roads, schools, healthcare, and school, good one, Steve. That's a good one, school, and so many other services that we use. So there are different types of taxes. Some of them are called income taxes, and some of them are called sales taxes. So let's move over to our other page. Now, what is an income tax? An income tax is money that you pay the government based on how much money you make. So that's based on your income. So when we did budgeting, we talked about income, which is money that you bring in, money that you earn, whether it be through your allowance or whether you run a little business. So we won't tax your allowance, but when you get older and you have a job where you're going to work, and when you're going to work and you're making money, the government will then take some of that money so that they can pay for our roads and pay for our healthcare, right? So the income taxes is money that comes right out of money that you earn. So that's tax on money earned. Oops. Miss April's not doing a good job with her writing today. So what's another type of tax? That is sales tax. So this one you might be much more familiar with. Have you ever been to the store to buy something and it says that it's $1 and you take your dollar out of your pocket, but then you find out that it's actually more than $1? It's $1 and some cents. That's because they've added sales tax. Not nice, right? It's not nice.
not happy.
And that's because they've added what they call sales taxes on it. So this is taxes that we pay on things that we buy or on services that we get from people. So if you ever go to the barber or if you ever go to the hairdresser and you made the barber, the hairdresser might say, okay, that cut was $10. It's not just $10. It's $10 plus sales taxes. So that's what sales taxes are. It's the extra money that you pay on top of the price of something when you go shopping. All right, so sales taxes, it's tax on things you buy. Sounds good?
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through an exercise where you get to see how much these taxes might be when you go out. And it's really important to know what those taxes are because it helps you in your budgeting. If you don't remember to put in the tax, then you might run out of money. It's the same thing with income taxes. Remember, they take money when you earn income. So if you don't remember, oh my gosh, they're going to take some of my money, you make a budget based on money. So you have to plan always for the income taxes that they take from your check. And you also have to plan for the sales taxes that you pay when you go to the store. But don't worry, we're going to go through some exercises where I will show you how this works. All right. Someone asked a very good question a while ago. Do we pay sales taxes on everything? Not on everything. We pay sales taxes on a lot of things, but not everything. And I'll teach you what some of the tricks are for the things that you don't pay taxes on just a little bit later. All right. So
another question, Ms. April, so when you have a minimum wage job, do you pay less taxes? I'm not sure if you're going to cover that.
Oh, that's a great question.
I had a great question.
Wow. That's a very advanced question. I wasn't even going to cover that topic today, but Sophia, yes, when you have a minimum wage job, you actually pay less tax than someone who makes more money. So for those of you who want the advanced lesson, that's what we call progressive taxes. And I'll actually write it up here. Progressive taxes. And some of the older children may understand that better. In Canada, we have a progressive tax system, which means that the more money you make, the more taxes you pay. So if you earn minimum wage, you will actually pay tax at a much lower percent, as opposed to you may be in a lower tax bracket, say around 20% is the marginal lowest tax bracket. Whereas a higher earning person may pay 30, 40, 50%, right? So it's what we call a progressive tax system. The more money you make, the more taxes you pay in Canada. So that's not to deter you from earning lots of money so that you can have a great quality of life, but that's just how it is. We try to be fair. If you make a little bit more money, then you pay a little bit more. Sounds fair? I think it sounds fair. Yes. All right, so income taxes. Let's say you earned $100. So we're going to have an example here where your income is $100. And let's say you had to pay taxes of $20. For those of you who are studying percentages or you've learned percentages at school, that's 20%. So from that, we're going to pay $20 in taxes. That means that you're taking home only $80. So when you start to create your budget, you're not going to create your budget based on $100. You're going to create your budget based on $80. And that way, you don't plan to spend more money than you actually go home with. And this $20 then goes to the government, and they give a little bit to the doctors, they give a little bit to the construction people making the roads, they give a little bit to your school, they give a little bit to the swimming pools that we can't use right now. Right? So that's how income taxes work. You make your income, the government gets some of the taxes, and if you have a job where you go to work every day, your boss actually takes that $20 and sends it to the government for you, so you don't even have to do anything. If you have a little business, let's say you had a lemonade stand or you sell cookies, then you would hold on to your $20 so that you can send it to the government by yourself. All right, so when you have a business, people think that you're a little bit more responsible, so they trust you to then send that $20 all by yourself. All right, so that's how income taxes work. Now, you might not have to pay income taxes for a very, very long time. You're so lucky. But us grown-ups who have jobs and businesses, we have to pay income taxes. So what I want to focus on are sales taxes, because as children, you may encounter sales taxes so much more. Every time you run to the store to buy something, you will find sales taxes. So let's focus on how to do some sales tax activities. All right, so let's say I love chocolate. All right, so sometimes I go to the store and I want a chocolate bar. So look what I have here. My favorite chocolate bar, Mr. Big. So let's put Mr. Big right here. So I am going to the store and this chocolate bar says that it costs $1. Do I just have to give the store clerk $1?
No.
No, I'm going to have to give the sales clerk that $1 plus HST. Now, for those of you who are overseas, that's our sales taxes here, and HST is 13%. It may be a different percentage in your country or even in a different province in Canada. It may be a different percent, but where we live, it is 13%. So on $1, 13% is 13 cents. So now I have to make sure that I have $1.13 when I go to the store. Otherwise, I won't have enough money. All right, and when I budget, that means I can't just budget $1. I have to budget $1.13 or else I'm going to run out of money. All right, let me do another example. Ooh, it's summertime and I want a pair of sunglasses. So I'm going to go to the store to buy my sunglasses. Let's say I'm cheap, so I'm only going to spend $10 on my sunglasses. All right, so let's write $10 right here. Again, do we have to pay taxes on these glasses?
Yes.
Yes, Mickey. So we're going to pay HST of 13%. Anyone know how much 13% of $10 is? It is $1.30. So,
I was 20. I said 50.
50 what?
yes, Sarah. Sarah said no pennies. We're rounding our money. Yes, we are. So let's scratch this. They're going to charge us $1.15 up there for that, Mr. Big. You're so right, Sarah. All right. So on the sunglasses say $10, but then we have to add HST of 13%. So now our sunglasses cost us $11.30. So when I'm doing my budget, I have to make sure that I put in $11.30 or else I'm not going to have enough money. Do we see where this is going?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. This is going to be a tricky one. I'm going to the store to buy an apple. Let's see if someone can figure out the trick with this one. Let's say this apple costs $1, right? Our apple is $1. much is this apple going to cost me when I go to the cashier to pay for it?
I know.
How much, Mickey?
$1.35.
Good guess. Good guess. But guess what? This is a tricky one. And this is some encouragement for you to eat healthy foods. Do you know that you don't have to pay sales taxes on healthy food? So when,
That means more healthy food, right?
no sales taxes on healthy food. So when you go and you buy fruits and mom and dad buy vegetables or meat or things that you can cook and make healthy meals at home, the government, the people who run the country, want to encourage you to be healthy. So guess what? HST equals 0. We are only going to pay $1 for our apple. And that answers the question that was asked earlier about, does everything have sales taxes? Some things don't. So things such as healthy food, they don't have sales taxes, and essential services. So if you need to pay a doctor for something that's not covered by the government, then any sort of health care that you have to pay for, those things are also free. So the things that are essential to our living, to ensure that we can eat well and we can stay healthy, those things are usually free and don't have HST. So that's the one little trick with sales taxes. But if you know that fruits and vegetables don't have HST, then that's just more encouragement so that you can eat more healthy foods. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right. So
He
you
has a
have to remember to budget. When you're budgeting, make sure that you budget not just for the cost of the item, but also for the HST that's on top of it. Any questions?
Yeah. Okay, so you said like healthy food is like it's like cheap, right? Because it's healthy, right?
Yes.
Well, there's no tax on
Well,
it.
there's no like tax on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how come when my grandma buys strawberries, they're expensive?
Oh, the cost of the product can still be expensive.
Yes, but the strawberries wouldn't have any taxes on it. But you know, when you want to order pizza and have a delivery guy bring it to your home, you're going to have to pay taxes because that's not the most healthy food. And then you've asked someone to make it for you and bring it to your home. But if you go to the store and buy your fresh fruits and vegetables, then you won't have to pay any sales taxes. Alrighty, so if there are any more questions, just drop them in the chat and I'll be happy to answer them for you. But I just wanted to ensure that you got a good grasp of what income taxes are and what sales taxes are.
Wait, I have another question.
Sure.
So I have this game in mind, and it's a really cool game. It has something to do with taxes. Like you said, it was the game that we just did right now, where you get like you have to guess an item and you have to guess the price on. And
Okay. And see how much the taxes are. It's a good game to play for everybody at home. So you can find items in your house and then guess and then calculate to see how much the taxes are on that item to work it into your budget, especially if it's an item that you want.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you, Miss April.
Welcome.
Oh, wait, there is one way. Is there a certain way to calculate sales taxes? We have that from Sophia.
Is there a certain way? So the first thing that you do is you figure out, let me bring this up here. I'll just use a corner of my paper. Ran out of a little bit of paper, but we'll use this corner over here. So if you have an item that costs a particular amount of money, so let's say $2. So you're going to do 2, and then you're going to multiply by the rate of the sales tax. And where you live will affect how much the sales tax is. So I'm going to do it based in Ontario. So in Canada, we have, or in Ontario, we have sales taxes of 13%. So if something costs $2, you're going to go 2 and multiply it by 1.13. And in this case, that would be 2.26. So this number right here, that's what you use to multiply by. Oh, you can't see the corner, Esme? Okay, I'll write it. How about if I do it right here? So if you have $2, you're going to multiply it by 1.13. And in this case, that works out to 2.26. So this magic number here, hopefully you've learned multiplication. And whenever you want to figure out what the total price is going to be, you do the original price times 1.13. Or let's say you live somewhere where your tax rate is 5%, then this would be 1.05. Or if you live somewhere where your tax rate is 10%, this would be 1.10. So you always multiply by that, and that will give you what the total price is.
Oh, you got it? I hope you guys got it.
Yeah.
We had another question. Does the government give you money back when you pay taxes? That's a good.
Ooh, they're asking all the fancy tax questions.
Woohoo!
Yes. So depending on if you gave them too much money, they may give you money back. Oops, somebody's trying to find Miss April. So when you pay your taxes in advance once a year, usually around April, the government then, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it is tax season. There's a deadline on Monday. Someone's trying to call Miss April. All right, so here we go. Now, every year you file taxes once a year. Usually that's around April. So when you do what's called a tax return, the government then says, oh, this is how much tax you should have paid me, but this is how much tax your boss sent to me. Uh-oh, your boss sent me a little bit too much money, so I'm going to give you back some of the money that your boss sent for me because we have the right calculation now that you filed what's called an income tax return. Sounds good?
Yeah.
So yes, you can get money back from the government when you pay taxes.
I thought how you get money
Yes.
back,
Yeah.
like from the government and stuff, is when you're doing a job, and the government would give your boss the money, and the boss would give you the money.
Oh, that's like, so you're thinking, does the government, oh, well, certain jobs, the government does, if you are a government worker, the government does pay you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
We have another question from Sarah. She says, do you pay taxes when you buy games online?
It depends. Now, if you're buying from a Canadian company, those of us who live here, then you will have to pay taxes on that. If you're buying games from the US, you may not pay sales taxes right away, but when those games come to the border of the US and Canada, you usually have to pay what's called duties and some sales taxes as well. This is a very educated group. They're asking some very fancy questions. So there are things called excise taxes, which is another grown-up, really special tax that you pay when you buy things that come from outside of the country. So when those things come in, you usually have to pay some taxes on those for them to come into the country.
The other question from London says, what if the game doesn't come in physical form, Miss April? So like an online.
Okay, comes in online and you're buying something from out of the country, usually you don't have to pay HST. So you get away with it that way. Yes.
Well,
those are some very,
this is really good.
some very intelligent questions. I have clients who don't get this. So these are very, very sophisticated questions. I wasn't even going to cover those things, but I like it.
Well, good job. Thank you again, Miss April.
You're welcome.
So we're just going to finish up so that we don't go past our 40-minute mark with you guys. So Miss April did a fantastic job on taxes. We should continue this discussion and we'll do a game. So our last question is that we always ask at the end of every webinar is, what would happen if kids became more financially literate? And our answer at KiddieNomics is real change that impacts the world. Remember what we're saying, your dollar has power. So harness your power and you guys will do amazing things to help change this world.
One more thing. If you don't know what this question really means, it means that you can change the world by being a doctor. You can change the world by being anything you want to help the world be changed and be into a beautiful world so you can help other people.
Yes. So thank you very much. I just want to talk about, that was really good, Mickey. Thank you. So our upcoming sessions. So Miss April was phenomenal. She did a mini series with us. So she did budgeting, she did assets and liabilities, and this week was taxes.
Best one.
Best one, taxes? That's so good to know. So next week, our guest speaker is going to be Mr. Curtis Maskell. He's going to be talking about credit. So credit for kids for June 19th. Then the following week is going to be Billie Jane Bolton, and she's going to do Friday, June 26th, it's going to be savings for kids. And then Friday, July 3rd will be RESP for kids, right? And then after that, we're going to come back to another KiddieNomics expert. He was our first KiddieNomics speaker. It's going to be Mr. Scott Roberts, and we're going to circle back with him on Friday, July 10th, and it's going to be Stocks 201 for kids. So our first one was Stocks. That was the one on May 8th. So all videos are uploaded onto our YouTube channel. So please check out the one for Stocks, because that was like Stocks 101. So we are going to continue on with Stocks. So this is Stocks 201 for kids. So please watch the first video so that when we get into Stocks with Mr. Roberts, you guys will understand the basis going forward. Okay. So our goal here is to help create tiny financial literacy ambassadors across the globe. So just kind of just share with us some ideas on other things that you guys would like to learn. We're going to get into some other things with financial literacy. We're going to talk about health and money. We're also going to get into grants and scholarships and money for KiddieNomics. We're going to get into like meditation. So there's different topics that we're going to get into for KiddieNomics. But if there's anything that comes up, and entrepreneurship. So we're going to get into that also. But anything that comes to mind, please share with us using the hashtag KiddieNomics or Ask KiddieNomics. And of course, you can always find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Oh, and we have a new one. We just signed up for TikTok.
TikTok account, KiddieNomics.
So we don't have any videos posted yet. We just signed up, so we do have a KiddieNomics page for TikTok. It will always be about financial literacy, but we'll be doing some fun things on TikTok. Yeah. I, for the life of me, cannot get the renegade dance, so I'm still trying to learn that one.
And if you want to see more TikTok videos, some of them can be in with her on my TikTok account.
Okay.
Mickey for
no.
Go follow.
So we're gonna do some TikTok videos for you guys, do some dance moves. I'll try to get into them.
And our top 5 things that we've been learning.
Yep, so we'll always do our top 5, but if you guys have any questions or anything for our experts like Miss April, you can always find her contact information at the bottom of, in the description of every video. And we're also, I'll send out a post also with her contact information on our social media pages. So you'll find her information there. So anyways, thank you everybody for joining. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Miss April.
Bye.